Every man dreams of that moment when the woman who walked away suddenly starts missing him, reaching out, trying to find a way back into his life. But what most men never realize is this: she doesn't come back because you begged, texted, or proved your worth. She comes back when something inside her starts to ache, not for attention, but for the energy she lost when she lost you. And the truth is, that ache doesn't begin until you become a man she can no longer emotionally reach. You see, there's a silent switch inside every woman, a psychological point where her emotions shift from control to curiosity. When you were chasing, explaining, and trying to fix things, she felt power. She felt needed, desired, safe in her position. But when you vanished into your purpose, when your focus stopped revolving around her, that illusion shattered. The emotional certainty she once had turned into confusion. That's when her thoughts begin to loop. That's when the regret starts whispering. She'll wonder if you've met someone else. She'll check your profile, looking for signs. She'll scroll through old photos, trying to remember how it felt when your attention was hers. And every unanswered question becomes a trigger. Every unanswered message becomes pressure. You don't need to chase, her own mind will. But here's the secret most men never master. She won't beg to come back because you disappeared. She'll beg to come back because you transformed. You became a man of presence, not panic. You stopped reacting and started radiating. Your silence wasn't about pride, it was about peace. And that peace becomes the very thing she can't find anywhere else. Because when a man detaches correctly, he doesn't punish her. He elevates himself. He becomes harder to read, harder to reach, harder to replace. That's when her ego breaks, her mind replays everything, and her heart begins to question what she walked away from. She'll start remembering the moments you didn't even think mattered, your calm voice, your consistency, your direction, and she'll start wondering if she'll ever find that again. That's the secret most men miss. You don't make her beg by chasing her emotions. You make her beg by mastering your own. Because once you evolve into the man who no longer needs her, she'll feel it. And once she feels that energy, that quiet, grounded, masculine confidence, she'll do the one thing you never expected her to do. She'll come back on her knees, not for attention, but for peace. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course. It's a brotherhood, a private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month. You join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits. Just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community, enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Section 1. The real reason she pulls away before she misses you. When a woman starts to pull away, most men panic. They sense the emotional distance and immediately try to close it with words, effort, and attention. But what they don't understand is that her pulling away isn't random. It's a response to energy. It's the moment when she feels your emotions trying to grip her tighter, and instinctively, she resists. Women are emotional by nature, but they're also deeply intuitive. When they feel that your happiness depends on their affection, they subconsciously associate you with pressure, not peace. That's why she begins to withdraw. Not because she stopped caring, but because she needs to feel the loss of your energy to value it again. You see, attraction doesn't vanish, it shifts. When you start centering your world around her, her feminine mind senses imbalance. The polarity fades. She feels your emotional dependence, and that dependence makes her lose respect, even if she doesn't want to. But the moment you release control, the energy flips. The more you detach, the more she starts to feel your absence. The more you chase, the more she runs. It's not about games. It's about gravity. When you stop orbiting around her, she starts to orbit around you. The woman who once seemed distant suddenly begins to remember your calm presence, your masculine stability, your quiet confidence. That's when curiosity returns. But before she can miss you, she has to feel the silence. Before she can crave your energy, she has to sense it's no longer hers to influence. That's why pulling back isn't weakness. It's emotional rebalancing. It allows her to experience what life feels like without your focus feeding her emotions. Most men ruin this process by trying to fix things. They text, they plead, they explain, not realizing that every word they send pushes her further away. You can't reason a woman back into attraction. You can only reawaken it through stillness. Because when she feels that you no longer need her to feel whole, something powerful happens. She begins to miss the version of you that didn't chase, the version she originally fell for. Her pullback isn't rejection. It's a test of your emotional control, your discipline, your ability to remain centered even when she withdraws affection. If you fail, you reset the cycle. But if you pass, if you stay grounded, focused, calm, you let her feel the consequences of distance. That's when her emotions start turning back toward you, drawn not by words, but by your silence. So the next time she pulls away, don't panic, don't chase, don't explain. Because her distance is not the end. It's the beginning of her realization. Section 2. Why silence makes her beg to come back. Silence is not distance, it's reflection. It's the mirror that forces her to see what she truly lost. Most men mistake silence for weakness, thinking it'll make her forget. But real silence, the kind that comes from calm confidence, does the opposite. It makes her remember, it makes her feel, and feeling is what drives her to come back. You see, women are emotional creatures, but they are also wired to respond to contrast. When you were available, expressive, and emotionally open, she felt safe, but not challenged. Familiarity killed the mystery. But when you suddenly withdraw your presence, not in anger, but in self-control, her brain enters a state of uncertainty. She begins to question your feelings, your intentions, and most dangerously, your indifference. That psychological uncertainty is powerful. It triggers a chase response that no amount of talking could ever create. She starts to wonder, did he move on? Has he changed? Was I the problem? That's when her imagination does the work for you. And what she imagines will always be more intense than anything you could ever say. Your silence becomes her obsession because it forces her to sit in discomfort. She has no emotional closure, no reassurance, no validation, just a void that her mind keeps trying to fill. Every time she opens her phone and sees no message from you, her ego cracks a little more. Every time she checks your page and sees that you're calm, composed, and living your life, she feels a mix of regret and curiosity. But here's the beauty of it. Silence works not because it punishes, but because it transforms. It shifts the power dynamic without confrontation. You're no longer reacting to her behavior. She's reacting to your absence. You're not chasing closure. She's chasing understanding. That's why silence is not about revenge. It's about respect. For yourself, for your peace, for your value. Most men fail because they break the silence too soon. They want reassurance, they crave confirmation, they fear being forgotten. But what they don't realize is that breaking silence before she feels the full emotional gap resets the game. She learns that all she has to do is pull away, and he'll return. That's why your calm distance must be consistent. Not cold, but grounded. Because eventually, the silence stops being about what she lost. It becomes about who you've become. And when she sees that you've turned your pain into purpose, your absence into power, that's when she feels something deeper than attraction: respect. And once a woman respects your silence, she starts chasing your attention. That's the moment her pride bends, her ego softens, and her heart whispers what she swore she'd never say again: I miss you. Section 3. The energy shift that makes her chase you again. Every comeback begins with an energy shift. You don't need magic words or strategies. You just need to change the emotional frequency you radiate, because a woman doesn't fall for your words. She falls for your energy. When that energy changes, she feels it, even from miles away. The moment she senses that your world no longer revolves around her, her mind starts spinning. She feels the absence of that invisible string that once connected her ego to your emotions. She can't feel your focus, your tension, your longing. And that's when confusion begins. For the first time, she's not sure where she stands in your world. That uncertainty awakens a primal instinct, the need to chase clarity. But here's the paradox. The more she chases clarity, the more mysterious you become. Because this time your silence isn't a reaction, it's a standard. You're not ignoring her to make her feel small. You're simply too focused on your purpose to be predictable. And that unpredictability is magnetic. When you shift your energy from seeking to leading, from needing to being, everything about you changes. Your tone slows down, your eyes calm. Your words carry weight because you speak from intention, not emotion. And that grounded energy pulls her in. Women are not drawn to perfection. They're drawn to presence. They're drawn to the man who doesn't beg for connection because he is connection. She starts noticing it in subtle ways. How your silence feels heavier. How your presence feels rarer. How your time now seems valuable. You're no longer the man she could easily access, and that change shakes her sense of control. She begins to chase not your attention, but your energy. The calm dominance you now embody. That's the shift. When your peace becomes more attractive than her chaos. When your stability starts to make her restless. When she realizes that she's no longer your emotional priority, but your optional company. And that realization is where respect is reborn. You see, the energy of the man who no longer seeks validation is irresistible. It carries quiet authority, the kind that doesn't speak but is felt. She starts to wonder who else might be feeling that energy now. She starts competing with the version of herself that once had your full attention. And here's the truth. She doesn't want the same man back. She wants the man she now has to earn. That's why the energy shift matters more than anything you could ever say or do. When you reclaim your peace, your time, your direction, you reclaim her curiosity. And once she's curious again, she's already chasing. Because the moment she realizes you've stopped trying to impress her, she starts trying to deserve you. Section 4. What makes her realize? She lost a high-value man. The moment a woman truly realizes she lost a high-value man isn't when you walk away. It's when she discovers she can't replace you. It's not immediate. It's slow, quiet. It begins when she meets other men who seem confident, but their calm feels empty. They try to impress, but their energy lacks depth. They talk about plans, but they don't move with purpose. That's when her mind drifts back to you. Not because she misses the relationship, but because she misses how you made her feel. A high-value man doesn't just give attention. He gives meaning. His words carry weight. His silence holds presence. When he listens, she feels seen. When he speaks, she feels understood. That emotional impact is rare. And once it's gone, she feels the absence like an echo that won't fade. What truly makes her realize your worth is not your money, looks, or charm. It's your self-control, your ability to stay calm when she's emotional, your discipline when she tests your boundaries, your refusal to lose direction, even when love tempts you to. That quiet composure separates you from every man who came before and every man who'll come after. Because deep down, women crave the stability they can't find within themselves. And when she loses that stability, she feels it in her bones. Then comes the contrast. The emotional chaos of other men reminds her of the peace she once had in your presence. The conversations feel shallow. The attention feels temporary. The connection feels forced. That's when the regret begins to bloom. That's when she starts to realize that losing you wasn't just losing a man. It was losing a mirror that reflected her best self. You see, a high-value man doesn't chase validation. He creates value through presence. His consistency speaks louder than his promises. His silence teaches her patience. His focus reminds her what leadership looks like. And when she remembers that, when she realizes how rare that energy is, she starts to question her choices. She starts comparing everyone to the standard you set. That's why you never need to prove your worth after she leaves. Your growth proves it for you. When she sees you calm, centered, improving, not bitter, not reactive, she feels something powerful. Regret mixed with admiration. She realizes that the man she left isn't the man standing before her anymore. And that realization doesn't make her want to talk. It makes her want to come back. Because what she lost wasn't just affection. It was access. Access to a man who knows his worth, guards his energy, and gives nothing without alignment. And once she feels that, she'll do what you once did. She'll start chasing peace. But this time, peace looks like you. Section 5. How to handle her. When she starts coming back. When she starts coming back, don't celebrate, observe. Her return isn't always a confession of love. Sometimes it's curiosity, guilt, or ego trying to reclaim the energy she once controlled. The real test isn't whether she comes back. It's how you respond when she does. Because if you lose your frame here, you lose everything you built through silence. The man who understands this knows that her return is not a reward, but a reflection. It's the universe showing him how far he's come. Before, her message would have made your heart race. Now, it just makes you breathe slower. That's power. Not the kind that tries to dominate her, but the kind that dominates self. When she reaches out, stay composed. Don't rush to reply. Let her words breathe. Let her wonder. When you do respond, keep your tone calm and centered, polite, but not eager. Your calmness will confuse her because it's new. She's used to the version of you who would over-explain, who would fight for her attention, who would fear losing her. But this new you doesn't react. You choose. You're no longer driven by emotion. You're guided by principle. You respond based on what aligns with your peace, not your desire. If she's consistent, respectful, and genuine, give her your presence. If she's flaky, uncertain, or testing, withdraw without anger. The Stoic man doesn't punish. He teaches through distance. Because here's the truth. When you remain centered, you flip the entire dynamic. She begins to sense that you're not trying to rekindle the past. You're evaluating if she deserves space in your present. That mental shift places you back in control without saying a single word. As she starts coming closer, don't feed her emotions. Feed her curiosity. Keep your boundaries firm, your words minimal, your tone grounded. Don't explain how much you've changed. Let your energy reveal it. That silent confidence does more damage to her pride and more attraction to her heart than any emotional conversation ever could. She'll start to question, how can he be this calm? Does he even want me anymore? And that uncertainty, that loss of emotional control, is what pulls her deeper in. Because now, she's the one who's trying to win you. Handle her return with dignity, not desperation. Smile, but don't soften too quickly. Be kind, but not naive. The man who stays in control understands that her return doesn't define his value. His behavior does. So when she starts coming back, stay grounded. Don't rush the process. Don't fall back into emotional familiarity. Let her meet the man who no longer fears losing her, because that's the man she'll never want to lose again. Section 6. The secret of emotional indifference. Why it makes you irresistible. Emotional indifference is not coldness, it's clarity. It's the point where you've felt every emotion, processed every pain, and finally realized that control doesn't come from how deeply you care, but from how calmly you carry it. That calm is what separates men who beg for closure from men who become closure. When you reach that level of emotional neutrality, something powerful happens. You stop trying to convince her. You stop needing validation. You stop negotiating your worth through reactions. You're no longer driven by the fear of losing her. You're led by the peace of knowing that you'll be fine either way. That's the energy that transforms attraction into respect. Because women don't fall in love with chaos. They fall for contrast. They fall for the man who can stand still while their emotions shift like waves. They fall for the mystery of a man whose self-control makes her question her own. When she realizes she can't shake your peace, she starts craving it. Emotional indifference isn't about apathy. It's about emotional power, the ability to feel without being ruled by those feelings. The man who masters this doesn't suppress emotion, he governs it. He understands that desire is natural, but dependency is dangerous. He can care deeply without losing himself. That's what makes him irresistible. He embodies freedom. And every woman is subconsciously drawn to the man who doesn't need her to feel complete. When you're indifferent, your presence becomes unpredictable, not in a manipulative way, but in a self-respecting way. You're no longer available on demand. You don't respond to every message instantly. You don't chase explanations. Your world continues to move, whether she's in it or not. And that independence sends one message louder than words. My life is bigger than your attention. That realization shakes her foundation. Because while most men react emotionally, you remain silent, composed, and steady. Your energy doesn't beg, it attracts. Your stillness becomes magnetic because it signals self-mastery. She starts to associate your calm with safety and your detachment with strength. And soon, the very indifference she once misunderstood as arrogance becomes the quality she respects the most. The secret, then, isn't to play hard to get. It's to be hard to move. It's to reach a place where no woman's behavior can make you lose your direction, where your peace is the prize, not her presence. That's what makes you truly irresistible. Because the man who can walk away with peace commands gravity without trying. Section 7. When she finally begs to come back, how to respond like a Stoic. There will come a moment, quiet, unexpected, when she breaks, when all her pride, all her resistance, all her emotional walls start to crumble. She'll text you, she'll call, maybe even cry. You'll see the regret in her tone, the softness in her words, the hesitation in her breath. That's the moment most men dream of. But it's also the moment where many lose everything they built. Because when she finally begs to come back, your test begins. Not hers, yours. The old version of you would have rushed in, heart racing, ready to forgive, ready to rebuild. But the man you've become knows better. You don't respond from emotion. You respond from alignment. You don't reward the past, you assess the present. Because you've learned that love without boundaries becomes weakness, and second chances without standards become cycles. When she finally admits she made a mistake, listen, but don't surrender. Watch what her actions say before her words try to convince you. Is she consistent? Is she humble? Does she acknowledge what went wrong? Not just for you, but for herself? A woman's apology means nothing if it's only designed to soothe her guilt. You're not looking for remorse. You're looking for reflection. Respond calmly. No anger, no arrogance, just quiet clarity. Say less than you feel. Speak slowly. Let her see that the emotional storm she once caused no longer moves you. That's what shakes her most, realizing that the power she used to have no longer exists. If she's genuine, if she truly respects the man you've become, you can consider her return, but not immediately. Reconnection must happen through earned trust, not nostalgia. Let her invest first. Let her rebuild what she broke. Don't rush the process. Make her meet the new version of you, not the man she remembers. And if her words are empty, if you sense manipulation, uncertainty, or ego, then do what most men never do. Stay silent, smile softly, and walk away with peace. Because that's when you've truly won. Not by making her love you again, but by proving to yourself that you no longer need her to feel complete. When she begs to come back, she's not chasing you. She's chasing the peace she lost when you left. And when you respond with calm strength, she'll finally see what she never saw before. That you never needed her approval to be powerful. Because the ultimate level of control isn't making her stay, it's being willing to let her go again. Without breaking this time. In short, it was never about making her regret losing you. It was about becoming the man she was never ready to meet, the one who doesn't chase attention, because his peace is louder than her absence. Every step of your evolution, the silence, the distance, the self-control, wasn't a tactic. It was transformation. You didn't ignore her to punish her. You detached to rediscover yourself. You stopped speaking because words were no longer necessary. Your calm became the message. And now, she feels it. The woman who once thought she had you figured out can't read you anymore. Your presence feels heavier. Your absence feels deeper. She senses that your energy has shifted from seeking to leading, from needing to knowing. That's the secret most men will never learn. When you master your emotions, you master the game. When you stop reacting, she starts reflecting. And when your peace becomes more valuable than her attention, she starts chasing the one thing she thought she could control, you. But this time, you're not chasing validation. You're choosing alignment. You're not proving your worth. You're living it. Because real power isn't about winning her back. It's about reaching the point where you could, but don't need to. So when she finally begs to come back, remember this. It's not your job to make her feel what she made you feel. It's your job to protect what you've built. Your peace, your purpose, your presence. And if she's meant to return, she'll have to rise to meet the man she once took for granted. Because the man who can love without losing himself is the man every woman ends up chasing. Remember, knowledge means nothing without action. If you're ready to rise above emotion and lead with purpose, join the community today at the stoiccouple.podia.com. Enroll once, grow forever.